Hola, bon dia. Carl Munson here in Portugal with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. I hope you're well wherever you are watching, listening to this. Be great to hear from the people who consume this via the YouTube channel. Do leave us a comment. And same with the podcasters or the podcast audience. I don't hear much from you, I have to say. So do give us a little bit of a shout out in the comment section of whichever podcast platform you listen to this on. Most popular seems to be Spotify, where we are available. So I've called this today Facts, Feelings and the Future. As ever, we will look at the situation in the most factual way possible. And then soon after, have a look at how everybody's feeling at the moment in anticipation of the big Easter weekend coming up. Perhaps the thing to do is to have a look at the weather for the Easter weekend coming for two reasons, really. The first is that if it's poor weather, that might encourage people not to travel. And if it's good weather, they might be inclined to do that. But if it's also good weather, you might be looking forward to a fabulous weekend in your own garden. I certainly am. So let's have a look at the Good Morning Portugal weather pages. And everything seems a little bit slow today. So I don't know what the increase in traffic is around the world on the internet, and therefore the demands put upon the broadband systems. But it certainly looks a bit slow here. And I'm not getting my whole page as I did when I first loaded it. But let's give that a chance to arrive. And do please let me know how you are this morning. And we'll talk more about your particular part of Portugal if you wish, and how you're feeling about all of this and the lockdown lessons that we've been talking about, and what you want to take forward after this. I've also got a really good it's an article, it's a Facebook post, but from the Post Growth Institute. I did announce yesterday that I was hoping to I was hoping to reorient the way we're going with the stream and be more inclined to look at the positive and practical measures we can take and incorporate into our lives. So hence the lockdown lessons and what we might carry forward, and how we're going to create the future ourselves between us, rather than expect to be saved by the government. Obviously, you know, we can expect, well, can we? You might expect some assistance from the centralized authority known as the government, but it would appear that given the fragility of the situation we found ourselves in the last 10, arguably several decades, it might be good to get a little bit more self-sufficient and interdependent, you know, work with your local community rather than expecting too much from centralized authorities as in the national government or even the EU. But I don't want to turn that into a political hot potato, not yet anyway. Let's just quickly check through the weather. Thanks everybody with your own weather reports that are coming in. I will come back to those as well. I'm so grateful for your company on these mornings from around 9 o'clock, so Portuguese 9 o'clock, dare I say it. Lisbon, look, the weather for Lisbon for the coming Easter break, a little bit cloudy on the Friday, and that's a general picture, I think, as we scroll down through the country. Is Sunday is looking sweet and hot. But as we get there, we're still experiencing quite a lot of rain across the country, and possibly a cloudy Saturday that might give way to a little bit of sunshine on Sunday, unless, of course, you're in Évora there, where it's going to be a bit foggy, but hot. Look, 20 degrees. That's very comfortable, isn't it, for an Englishman such as myself? Faro, 20 degrees, a little bit cloudy for the weekend. But generally speaking, cloudy, but with sun peeking out from behind those clouds, and the rain hopefully looking like it will have cleared up by the weekend, when we might like a little bit of nice weather to be in the garden. And it's not blazing hot weather, which might encourage people who are not taking the lockdown stuff too seriously to stay at home and not travel too far. So let's have a look at your local weather as well. Good morning, Barbara. Yeah, raining there. Please remind us where you are as well. That would be great. I forgot, Barbara, which part of Portugal you're in. But yeah, rain there. That's the general picture, isn't it, around the country at the moment? Sunny, sunny, sunny here. That's South London. Where I think the government are very worried about a beautiful bank holiday weekend. The irony of it, normally when in normal times, and I use the term loosely, you can rely on the bank holiday to rain, can't you? And sort of challenge everybody's plans. Now everyone's in lockdown. They're looking forward to a very sunny bank holiday weekend in England. Morning from Santa Catarina. Good morning to you, Tracy. Lovely to hear from you. From Sushant, it's raining here in Cersal de Alentejo. New name to me. Good morning to you, Sushant. Good morning, Stephen. Raining in Luli. Sat in our motorhome listening to you, Claire and Steve. Sorry about that. Have you got the playing cards out yet? That's the sound of rain on the roof and the playing cards in your hand. That's how I remember some of my time in a camper van or a caravan. And Dawn's here as well. Morning, guys. Hope you're well and loving the crosstalk. Yep, great. Thanks, Dawn, says Stephen. I don't need to share that with you, do I? You're talking amongst yourselves, which is fantastic. Neil Perkins, cloudy, moist, and damp. I take it that's a weather report and not a personal statement of where you're at this morning. Neil, yes, you're in Evra, if I remember rightly, and yeah, exactly, 2020, the irony. It's the year of irony, is it not? The sunniest bank holiday on record, possibly in the UK. I made that up, but you know, that would be increased to the irony, certainly. Hopefully people will be sensible and stay at home this weekend, says Barbara. I live near Leiria. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, and from Alvazara, Gary Austin, damp and grey there. And Dawn says, missed you yesterday, has got the shopping in. Yeah, I'm going this morning. I keep putting it off. Listened in the afternoon whilst painting a bedroom in the villa. I love it. I suppose I'm being compared there to watching paint dry in a funny sort of way. Good morning, Carl from a rainy Penella. Coping well here. I'm part of a local WhatsApp group that have come together during these times. Excellent. Tell us more about how that's working and how that's worked. Last night we received dinner cooked and delivered by one of our own group. We take care of each other during these times, keeping the humor going throughout these Groundhog Days. Fabulous news from Penella and that WhatsApp group. And WhatsApp, of course, has come into its own during this crisis, this challenge to us as a great community communication tool. I suppose it's fairly straightforward. You're in a WhatsApp group. I would like to know a little bit more about technically how that worked and how that got going. That would be fantastic. And on Tuesday as well, we have a very special guest. Alison's going to be with us, and she's published a book, if I remember rightly, called Living the Dream, about moving to Portugal. So I think a lot of people in that same sort of condition of moving to Portugal to live the dream life. And look at us now. But don't worry. I'm sure we can co-create a different kind of future together. And I'll use that phrase again when all this is over. So let's have a look at those numbers now. And we'll look at Craig Morfitt's report, which is always very good. His in-depth analysis of what's going on brings a little bit more flesh to the bones, as it were. If we look at the current situation in Portugal from the health ministry, we see there, look, 380 deaths. That's gone up from 345 yesterday. The recoveries continue, which is great. 196 confirmed cases in the country now. 13,141 suspected cases. 104,886. Still the north of the country, the hot spot. Let us go then to Craig's deeper analysis of the situation. And as I said before, we will eventually move away from this collectively, but we will, as the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube and podcast as well, move away from. I mean, it's you know, it's a difficult balance to strike. It's not great fun, frankly, sharing a daily death toll with you, as I'm sure you can appreciate. But I think it's important that we look at the situation in the bigger picture and consider what's going on, and then plan our ascent from this and our recovery collectively. And that's what I'm hoping Good Morning Portugal will be about as we move from this situation and we move to a more cooperative, collaborative, positive future together that's a bit more sustainable, resilient, etc. So Craig Morfitt, 13,000, this is as of yesterday, 13,000 plus confirmed cases, an increase of 699 cases over the day before, showing a daily growth rate of 5.6% of the day before. On the day before, we have had another 35 fatalities, bringing the death toll to 380. That represents a 10% increase in deaths, and the day before was 10.9, or it's an increase on the day before of 10.9%. 241 of the fatalities are in the 80 plus age group, and 87 are in the 70 to 79 age group. The number of COVID patients admitted to hospital has increased to 1,211. It was 1,180 the day before. 245 in intensive care. 271 the day before that. This may be the first time that we've seen the number in intensive care decrease. Isn't that good news? The northern Porto region now accounts for 7,386 of the confirmed cases and 208 of the fatalities. An additional 5,000 plus suspected cases or tests on suspected cases were conducted on the 7th, bringing the total number of tests to over 100,000. Of those, 85,842 have tested negative and 5,903 are awaiting the results. That sounds like good news to me as well. The number of positive results, negative results, and tests awaiting results all add up to the total number of suspected cases. That I've been calling the number of tests administered. However, today the DGS has introduced a new figure to the charts, the amostras, the samples. Today it lists the total number of samples as 1,208. Sorry, 1,028, 784. 128,784. Carl, get a grip. This number is 23,898 more than the number of suspected cases. DGS has also released a chart that shows the number of samples alongside the 3 other variables: confirmed, not confirmed, and awaiting results. Craig says, I can only conclude that the samples figure relates to the amount of testing swabs that have been used rather than the number of individuals tested for the disease. For example, testing swabs are also used to test for recoveries. This is also only an assumption at this time. 196 people are now shown as having recovered, as we said there before. So, yeah, that to me is pretty unclear about all the testing stuff, and I'm sure will continue to be so. But all I'm trying to do here is give you a general picture of what's going on, and I hope I've managed to do that before we move on now to some of the more personal reports from around the country. And let's have a look. Yeah, I'm loving what's happening in Penella, I have to say. Barbara, taking it easy as recovering from surgery. Crikey, Barbara. Well, lots of love and best wishes to you. Hubby is very helpful. That's good. That's good. That makes a difference from heavy breathing, doesn't it? And the need to lock him in the spare room or whatever, or in the camper van, which came from one of our other correspondents. And I won't labour the point, Hannah. Oops. Debbie Doos, sending love to everybody. Thank you very much, Debbie. That's very kind and very nice and just what we need right now. Hannah says it is important. If they did it in London, then maybe teens wouldn't be hanging out in the parks. Need to tell people that it can be any one of us. Yeah, when I paused to say that the largest numbers of fatalities are in the older age groups, I feel bad about that. It's like it is a comfort in one way, isn't it? That it's affecting more people who are frail at the end of their lives. I'm making a terrible mess of it articulating, so I hope you understand. But it does that. The good innings, the people who've lived a long time, they're frail, and you would expect are vulnerable, and sadly they're dying. That gives other people that sense of that thing I'm talking about there, does give younger people a sense of invulnerability and immortality that I think Hannah's alluding to there, that this can affect anybody, even though the greatest numbers of fatalities are in the older age groups. I really didn't mean to be offensive or say something horrible there, but I think I know what I think you know what I'm getting at. Stephanie, hello, late turning up for the show from rainy Tavira. It's all right. It's not There's not a register here, and that won't be in your end of term report, Stephanie. I'm very grateful for you coming at all here. I know we need the rain, but sun helps the mood so much. Best wishes to all. Fabulous. My pleasure, Barbara. Hannah, think we need to know what the first thing you're going to do when lockdown ends. Yes. Watching the Chinese yesterday, looking confused. The first thing I'm going to do is get liposuction and a new. This is becoming the series within the series. What Hannah does next. Okay, so a little bit going a bit heavy on the carbs and the wine. So is that why you need the liposuction? I don't like to make assumptions. And a new husband. We need to get your husband on here at some point, don't we? So he has his right of reply. What's everyone doing over the Easter lockdown? The 5-day one. Yeah, it's a 5-day, taken seriously in Portugal. A 5-day holiday. It's like, I mean, we do need a break, let's be honest. So let's find out what you're doing in this 5-day break. The wife told me it is very wet. Neil, you have your own weather girl by the sound of it. The wife told me it's very wet and raining very hard outside in Alvito. I suppose I best let her back in now. Hey, the old ones are the oldest. Thank you very much, Neil. Right, I was saying I was going to share with you something from the Post Growth Institute. This has come from a friend of mine, Wendy, around the Alvazara area via Facebook. And the post-growth institute. There we go. I think there we go. We're back now. We're back, I believe. Sometimes when I share a screen with you, the thing just breaks basically, and that's what happened to me just then. So I hope you can still hear me. Maybe you can let me know if there's any interruption in the sound or whatever, just or pictures. Just let me know. But I will endeavour to share this screen again with you. The Post Growth Institute from friend Wendy in Alvazara, a Facebook post. There we go. That's worked this time. And they have put up a really interesting post. Let me just give you a bit of background so you know what on earth I'm talking about with the Post Growth Institute. The idea here is that it's a story, as it were, an international organization accelerating the world's shift to an economy that thrives within ecological limits. That makes really excellent sense, doesn't it? Our mission is to inspire, mobilize, and support individuals, businesses, and communities to create a future where the continuous circulation of resources leads to a human and planetary flourishing. I'm up for that. Are you? Good morning, Portugal posse. A place, a future where the continuous circulation of resources leads to human and planetary flourishing. I'm up for a bit of flourishing, and I suspect you are too, if you're part of this Good Morning Portugal community. And this is what they say: we will get through this together. The tragedy that is unfolding right now is hard to fathom. It's understandable that people are at different stages in the cycle of grief. So a heads up that we're sharing here might not be for everyone. And I've used that preface myself before. We're all in different parts of this journey, are we not? About who we are, where we're going. We might not be ready to look at some of the grimmest parts of this at any given time. We might not be ready to look at the future. And conversely, we might be really ready to look at that stuff and really, once we're sick of many aspects of it and sick of what got us here, arguably, we might be looking at other alternatives. But anyway, I'll continue. The vast majority of leaders, journalists, and others sharing information about this virus appear to be dramatically underestimating its long-term impacts. And I feel this. The latest projections from Morgan Stanley, and there is a graph here, which I won't inflict upon you right now with your breakfast, but there is a graph to back it up, which always makes everyone feel a little bit more confident, doesn't it? Provide a glimpse into some of the factors at play for the US formal labour market, because post-growth are US-based. But as we see, with the climate emergency, researchers often underestimate negative feedback loops because they want to base projections on known data, and that's understandable too. In complex adaptive systems, much is unknown, yet many of us have been predicting this great unraveling. I've not heard that on the news, calling it a great unraveling, but that chimes with me, I have to say. This is an unraveling event, is it not? For some time, and know that there is a lot more fragility that remains to be revealed in terms of debt, the global reserve currency, the end of cheap energy, despite the apparent opposite with global oil prices, which you see at the petrol pumps right now, workforce motivation, market confidence, and resource dependence. So these are the issues that are in question here: debt, global reserve currency, end of cheap energy, workforce motivation, market confidence, and resource dependence. Big issues for us as we move forward. To be clear, the unfolding health crisis will be deep, prolonged, and disproportionate in its impact. The economic crisis will be all these things significantly magnified. In 2030 and beyond, people will still be feeling the painful effects of what's unfolding now. Now, that's possibly true, but I think it's a lot to do with how we respond to it. Okay, pain, without wanting to sound like a guru here, pain is inevitable in life, but suffering is optional, I think. And it's, what we do with this painful stimulation that comes our way that matters. And I think this is a moment when we can really work together to do something. As we move through these challenging times, opportunities for solidarity and transformation will continue to be revealed. Here's the good news. Here's the upside. Challenging times, opportunities for solidarity and transformation will continue to be revealed. For now, we're particularly excited by the expansion of, these are key terms, I think, for the future here: mutual aid, offers and needs markets. I don't even know what they are, but it sounds great. Credit unions and other forms of cooperative business, increased support for universal basic income. Spain are going to be bringing it in, I think, and job guarantees. In the long run, we're confident that we'll see a powerful shift in labour markets as people, where able, walk away from bullshit jobs. Yay to walking away from a bullshit job. We're here for something greater than that, aren't we, on this planet, seeking a working life filled with greater meaning and purpose. And I'm sure a lot of people who came to Portugal to live the good life did that to have a life with greater meaning and purpose. We're in this for the long haul together. Now, you might be saying, you might be shouting at the screen right now, Carl Munson, that is a load of hippie hooey. And you know it. We tried that in the 60s. It didn't work then, and it's not going to work now. Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to... let's see if Neil's let his wife back in. Eloise says, first thing I'm going to do is hug my beautiful friends. My husband got locked down in the UK. Oh, so I didn't know that. That's been a tough one, but we're all where we need to be right now. Oh, that's a good and philosophical way of looking at Eloise. I'm sorry to hear that. We will go, and that first hug with hubby, I suspect will be awesome. Be like a scene from a film. It's got music, hasn't it? Or a mariachi band. We will go to the beach as soon as we're allowed, says Stephanie. We're all missing our walks and picnics at the beach. Absolutely. All these wonderful things that we enjoy about Portugal that we're not able to do at the moment. And Dawn concurs with you there, I think, Stephanie, about going to the beach again. And does Jerry know that, Dawn? Bit of an in-joke going on there, says Steve. Well, thank you, all of you. I want to know your lockdown lessons. We'll do more of those. We're back again tomorrow. Is it Thursday today? I might need reminding what day it is. And we all need reminding what day it is, don't we, from time to time at the moment? Yes, I think Friday will be on again tomorrow. Let's have more lockdown lessons. Let's look at how we can create the future we want together without having to rely too much on those rascals who have had too much control over our lives in the past, I would say. And let's keep talking about that. So thank you very much. It makes my day to have you talk and be here on the Good Morning Portugal live stream and the YouTube and the podcast, etc. So thank you very much for being here and making this possible. Steve, Dawn, Stephanie, Eloise, Neil, Hannah, Barbara, Gary, and Debbie, and I think that's, and yes, Neil, you maybe get a shout out twice there. Sushant and Tracy, thank you so much for joining this morning. Like I said before, if you're watching on YouTube, stick something in the comments. If you're listening on a podcast, let me know who you are. They're very secretive, those podcast people, aren't they? But shout out to us. And why not be inspired to join this wonderful community of people who join me every morning, it would appear, and come and say hi to this lovely bunch of people. Stay connected in the Stay Positive Portugal group on Facebook as well. Take care. Bye for now. Hello.